a dash cam make a noise?
If you heard a little noise then, you might have heard it then. I think I've actually just switched it off then. I was going to show you the image through. We can't do that now. But let's introduce you to Alan Featherstone, who's the former Assistant Chief Constable for Northamptonshire Police, now promotes the use of dash cams. And Aga's going to see if she can switch it on now.
I'll try to turn it on.
Press the button on the end.
There's been a huge increase in the sales of these, and these are attached to people's dashboards, as the name suggests, looking out at what happens in front on the road.
They are indeed, and that's for either their own protection if they have an accident, or to catch incidents of dangerous, reckless driving.
Right, and just go through some of the basics for us. They're expensive? I mean, what?
You can pay almost anything for them, but part of the reason we established ourselves was A, to try and promote it and get the police to accept their use by members of the public, which was quite a big ask in the early days. They now do that, and we'll be a conduit to any force from that point of view. But primarily, from my point of view as an individual, if I have an accident, as I've had a couple prior to putting a camera in the car, I have no comeback, so I lose my no claims. Obviously, the person who was on the wrong side of the road and took me out lost it, but I had no proof of the fact that that was the case, and so the insurance industry makes money at our expense, I'm afraid.
I mean, as well as that side of how dash cams are used, we've seen some extraordinary pictures of late. The awful plane crash in Taiwan that we've seen, and we now know that the death toll is at 35, but it's a dash cam that was on a car, used on a car, that actually you saw this plane coming down. There was another incident as well of a meteor in Russia caught on a dash cam as well. So people are using these perhaps not just thinking of their financial, you know, protection in terms of insurance. This was extraordinary, this picture as well, we'll see. But also it's almost a hobby now, isn't it? It's almost like almost going viral type thing.
And amongst cyclists, I think viral is a very good word for it. Amongst cyclists, with the risks to them, particularly in the big cities, then they proportionately use an awful lot more of this type of camera. And they're very similar. What attaches to their helmets or to their handlebars is very similar, and the concept and the technology is much the same. And of course, the protection you get in the event of an accident, financially, you can't stop the damage that's been caused, is very helpful as well. But our big concern was the scale of really, really poor and dangerous driving on the roads, and this provides some means of identifying those individuals and providing evidence to the police.
And some people have raised concerns in the past, not just necessarily about this camera, but the amount of gadgets and gizmos that you have concurrently going on. While you should be concentrating on your driving, maybe you've got a sat-nav device there. Now you've got a camera here, which presumably you switch on and off. You've got your phone, which is. I mean, there's more and more things.
I must take it back a step. I think you're absolutely right. It is dangerous, but you don't switch it on and off. Once it's wired into the car, it comes on with the ignition. There's no wires there all around the outside the windscreen. The camera is behind the rear view mirror from the driver's point of view, so it doesn't restrict his vision at all, or her vision, and you don't touch it. There's no need to touch it to start it, stop it, or anything else. Sorry, the last thing is that you don't even have to press to record the accident, because the G sensor within the camera will recognise there's been an impact, and it'll immediately record the 90 seconds leading up to it and keep on recording.
Have insurance companies agreed that if you have this, you could submit it as proof of not bad driving or someone else's bad driving,
yes,
and actually help your premiums and your claims?
It doesn't help your premiums, it helps protect your premium for next year. So they won't reduce a premium for it, but what they will do is even pay for your footage so that they can use it and save themselves sometimes colossal damages, because you can prove that you weren't in the wrong.
Alan Featherstone, thank you very much for bringing in.
Thank you. Thanks for coming in. Still to come, the BBC News Channel has the latest on those Ukraine talks. Remember Angela Merkel, Francois Hollande, meeting with Petro Poroshenko in Ukraine.